Do you feel the light? Do you feel the change in the energy of the room? Do you feel the energy change within you? See, I've really come to understand that what the light is that place within us where we are at perfect balance. That perfect balance is when we see both sides through the Creator, where we see life as only it can see it, not from one dimension, but from an infinite dimension. And it is in that infinite dimension that it shows itself. And so I come to the understanding that when I look at healing, and I think I'm going to go into a story. I posted this story the other day on Facebook. I didn't use a name, but I'm going to use a name today because I held this person in my consciousness the entire time I was doing the lead into this. And that person's name is Ashley. And Ashley is a member of Agape. And Ashley is a woman who's got this very pretty young face. Very pretty young face. And Ashley's been struggling. Ashley needs a kidney transplant. Ashley also has some heart issues she's dealing with. And we found out the other day through a beautiful woman here let me know that Ashley was in a comatose state in long-term care. And so I went to visit Ashley on the day before Thanksgiving on Wednesday. And when I got there, she wasn't present. And the nurse said that she would be back. And so I sat down and I just went into prayer and I waited. About 20 minutes later, Ashley came and they brought her back. And when she came in, she had had a procedure done, so she was still comatose, probably even more so. And she was in the bed. And you know what it's like when you see someone hooked up to all the wires and stuff. You have to really look beyond the physical to see the God. So at that point, I did prayer. I just prayed for about 15 minutes, and there was nothing more to do, and I left. I woke up the next morning, and she was on my mind. And I said, this is Thanksgiving. We've got all these plans going on. And so I did everything I wanted to do, and about 11 o'clock, I looked at my wife and said, I'm going back. I felt an inner calling to go back. So I went back, and I walked into Ashley's room, and she was there all by herself, and I just prayed out loud for about 15 minutes. And the prayer that I spoke was that the divine wisdom, the light of God was in her. And I literally touched her. And I said, the light of God in me is touching the light of God as you, and you are awake. And you are hearing these words. And I'm claiming for you that the very power that created this universe is now guiding you. It is directing you in this moment to your healing. Whether that is a healing of your mental state, whether that is a healing of your physical state, whether it is a healing to let go of this physical body, I don't know, but you do. And I closed the prayer out. And I was standing there for just about 15, 20 seconds, and this woman walks in. And it was Ashley's stepmother. And she introduced herself to me, and I started to have a conversation with her. And then Ashley's father came in, and we had a conversation. Then I was introduced to Ashley's second stepmother. There were a lot of stepmothers there. And so I got to talk with them, and then two left, and just one of the stepmothers there, and she was talking about how Jesus was going to come and help and that type of thing, and I said yes. I was nurturing the belief of the person there because their consciousness was as important as Ashley's consciousness. So it's never about being right. It's about nourishing that consciousness. And so I then finished the conversation, and I said, I'm going to say goodbye and let you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And the stepmother looks at Ashley and says, Ashley, your minister is here. You say goodbye to him. Now, I want you to know, Ashley's lying there comatose. Her hands are covered because they don't want her to pull out the tubes because that's what she would do because she doesn't want them in. She's a stubborn, feisty woman. And all of a sudden, she says, you go say goodbye to Reverend Lee. And all of a sudden, she's comatose. This hand goes like this. And tears just flowed. because her inner being heard. Her inner being, that astral body that she is, that soul, that observer aspect, witnessed the prayer, witnessed the emotion, the connection with the parents, witnessed that whole things, and her gratitude raised her hand. That was a healing. I don't know if it was a healing for her. It was a healing for me. It was a healing for her stepmother. It was seeing that no matter what the physical state, the soul is so alive, so very alive. And so there's never a practice in healing. There is a practice of healing. And the practice of healing is that practice that takes us to where we find the balance, where we reconnect to the light within us, where we do whatever is possible for that. When we can take something going on in our lives and we can balance it out through whatever means we can, we come to a state of telos. A state of telos is a state of the divine. It is a state of balance. It is a state of acceptance. It's a state of seeing things beyond. When we get to that state of balance, of telos, that's when the light is shining. You see, that's where we're God, because when we're God, we're observing, we're not judging. We're not seeing the contrast. We're seeing everything as whole. We're seeing everything as perfect. We're seeing everything as complete. And that's what our work is. That's what spiritual practice is. Whether it's about healing, whether it's about trying to demonstrate something, it's only about getting into a state of being, into our state within us, that we're directing the power of the law toward what we want, and we are not attached to when it demonstrates. Does that make sense? There is no attachment to when it demonstrates. We're creating what? A mental atmosphere. Because the mental atmosphere that we are is the healing atmosphere that we create. So whatever's going on in our lives right here and now is that atmosphere projecting onto the light. It is projecting out into the world. It is our creation. So how do we change that atmosphere? We think thoughts only in alignment with what we want. We speak words only in alignment with what we want. We act only in alignment with what we want. We quiet our mind. We turn away from the condition. We're constantly turning away from the condition. We're not neglecting the condition. This is a big thing in New Thought where a lot of people, a condition happens and they neglect it. No, the fact of the matter is I don't want to say anything bad about myself. That Christmas tree has high blood pressure. Okay, I'm not going to deny that Christmas tree has high blood pressure, right? But now that I know that the Christmas tree has high blood pressure, all of my thoughts, all of my words, all of my actions are into a Christmas tree that has perfect blood flowing through it. That if it did have perfect blood flowing through it, it would be eating this way. It would be exercising this way. It would be thinking this way. It would have this amount of energy. It would not need medication. It would be free from life. It would be free to breathe. It would have perfect circulation. You see, and that's where I acknowledged what was going on in the tree. But then I turned and I started to affirm what my desire was. What my command into the law is. You see, this is where we've got to break the word. Even me, who's been a minister, not that makes me anything but Lee, but I practice this stuff all the time, and I said, my desire, no, it is my command of the law. You see, the law takes what we command it, and the command is our belief and our conviction behind it, and it is that belief and conviction behind it that gives the power to the command that the law that is infinite takes it and creates from it. You see, and there's so many ways, so when we look out into the world and we see people with health challenges, okay, some people may take pills, some people may have surgery, some people may have this thing, that thing, all of these other modalities. They're all right. There's not one right, there's not one wrong. But the fact of the matter is all the energy behind what you're doing toward the healing? Is it toward the wholeness? We're fast approaching the Christmas holiday. And it is really becoming clearer and clearer and clearer for me that Christmas has taken on a whole new meaning for me. It has nothing to do about giving gifts. It has nothing to do with Christmas trees. It has nothing to do with shopping. It has everything to do with, am I being the light in the world that sees the light within each person I am with? See, that's what this idea of Christmas is. But it's not just Christmas. This is what we're seeking to do every moment of every day. We're seeking to connect with an infinite power and presence within us that responds to the nature of our thought. Well, the only that it can respond to the nature of our thought is if we see the light in ourselves. We embody the light within ourselves, and we see the light in others. Who sees the light more clearly than anyone? Children. They don't have the filters. The other day, yesterday, I stopped over our beloved Mary's house, and Mary has these two beautiful children. Lash comes running out, and he's got on his, like, Superman underwear. I look at him. It's 30-some degrees outside. He's got on his underwear. But he comes out, I'm Lash. He has no inhibitions. He is tapped into divine light. In that moment, that child is experiencing what you adults want to do. So I invite you now to stand up, take your clothes off. I got a bunch of you, didn't I? Boy, I wish I knew this technique when I was 18 years old. That would have been a great one. Hey, honey, stand up, take your clothes off. No. You see how much fun it is to play? There's no embarrassment when we play together, is there? Embarrassment only comes when we judge ourselves. When we come out of the idea of judgment, we're back into wholeness again. We're back into the light. We're back into the feeling nature. What does the light feel like? It feels different for each of us, and it feels different in each and every moment. But when we feel it, we know. Because our hearts are open. We're not afraid. We're not caring about who gets elected to be president. We don't care because we understand that whoever is president is not our power. You see, we're rising above the masses. This is the thing. I'm reading right now an incredible book, and I invite everyone in this room to read this book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Absolutely incredible. He has a conversation with the devil, and the devil tells him all, supposedly, the secrets of how our minds are taken over. And it comes back to the idea that we're drifters. Drifting means we do not have our purpose. And when we don't have our purpose, we can be moved in any direction. We'll buy this politician, that politician. We'll buy this newscast, that newscast. We'll buy what this man says or this woman says. We'll buy anything because we don't have our purpose. When we have our purpose, nothing deters us. Here's the key thing. They said in this book, and this is fascinating, this number keeps popping up over and over for me this week. 98% of the people in this book, they say, are drifters. 98%. In the study, when I was working with my Ayurvedic practitioner this week, Heidi mentioned 98% of the people don't understand about the light within them and never connect. They're living unconsciously. When you talk with Dr. Don G. Martini and you go to his thing, he says people are caught up in fear. Think about where your life is right now, whether it's health, relationships, whether it's job, whether it's loneliness, friendships, you name it. Where's the fear? And if you take the fear away, you will attract what you want. But as long as you have fear, you are owned by that fear. You are the unconscious. You are the 98%. The key thing is, in a moment, you can make a switch. But when you make a switch, someone told me today they were turning over a new leaf. When you turn over a new leaf, it's just that you don't just turn the leaf over. You've got to make every thought, every word, and every action from that moment forward in the new direction. And when you slip and you revert, you immediately turn the leaf over again. You see, we're going to slip. Let's be gentle about it. We're going to make mistakes. People want to hear, I'm human just like you. I make mistakes all the time. But guess what? Every moment I get the opportunity, when I'm reminded, to switch back, to go back to the old way, to go back to the new way, the way I desire. And you can do that in any moment. You could be arguing with someone and all of a sudden just pause and say, I'm changing. And you simply say, I'm sorry, I wasn't being myself. Let me reframe that. See, what I want to say to you is that the power for you to have the life that you desire is right where you are. And I can see that power, but only you can use it. Only you can use that power in your life. Because when there's a healing happening, and when that healing is so deeply entrenched in you, that power just causes itself to feel, to sense, and know, and guide. It guides us to the next action. It guides us to the next thought. It guides us to the next person. It guides us to the next event. It takes us on a journey. And if you're walking side by side with me on this journey, we will have two completely different journeys based on where we're seeing ourselves go. That's perfect. We're supposed to be having different journeys. We're supposed to be seeing life differently because God, in its infinite nature, wants to see that. So I want to ask you a question. Where do you need to heal? Where is it in your life that if you could channel all the light that you could ever imagine, where would you channel that light? What fear in you is so big that it is holding you back? Focus on that right in this moment. So what I know is that there's an infinite power, an infinite presence that permeates in and through and as all things. This power and presence is all-knowing. It has always been, it always will be. It is the seen, it is the unseen. It is the known, it is the unknown. It is that which created all that exists out of itself. It is universal, infinite light. And right here, right now, I, as an individualization of that mind, of that power, of that light, I now focus that light into whatever is desiring to be let go. And what I understand, when that bright white light shines upon that idea in the mind that might be fearful, that fearfulness disappears because the white light is so bright, nothing can be shined through it. It is all powerful. Nothing can resist it. It goes through the object. It goes through the fear. It cuts through the past experience. And it now shatters it into oblivion, and all that remains is a clear slate that has no fear. A slate that says, I am open to receive that which you desire to create. So I invite you in your mind to create an image, a sound, an idea, a feeling of what it is you desire. Hold that image in your mind and live from that image. Live every thought, live every word, live every action that has now become your life. And I affirm in gratitude beyond any idea that could stop it, that now is made so. And so I rest, I give thanks, I let it be. And so it is. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.